going to have you leave, okay? Let me finish.
Or you want to
So,
listen?
sir, I have finished my opening remarks.
Go ahead.
And then I would like you to be the first. I would like you to be the first one to speak. You will let me finish my remarks. Let's have a common courtesy. And in exchange for that cut of 35 to 25%, the number of many small businesses filed as corporations, then we should close these loopholes that are carved out for special interests, including all of these subsidies, ethanol subsidies, sugar subsidies, all of these special interests because of lobbyists in Washington that have been able to get these special deals for special interests. The tax code is this high. Is there anyone in this room who understands the tax code? I'm not raising my hand. So we need to have a simple, fairer tax system in America. Why don't we have just 3 tax brackets? Why not just 3? And then you clean out all these things, and then we will give investors and companies the confidence to invest higher. Companies and corporations in America today are sitting on $1.5 trillion, and they're not hiring and they're not investing because they have no confidence in the future. So, with that, I'd like to say thank you for coming, and I would like to introduce our most happy member of the audience today. So please stand and go ahead.
Okay, I've got 2 things I'd like to talk about.
Yes, sir.
I edited,
Here's take the phone.
I edited the regulations, as you don't like, that were allowed to be put into the meatpacking industry for one company. I edit those regulations. And there's a point at the slaughtering of cattle where you run a knife up this belly skin. And if you're not careful, you will puncture their intestine. And intestine is where E. coli is. Guess what the regulations were written by? There was always a USDA inspector watching that one activity. But it costs a great deal of money if you have to rail off an E. coli infected cattle. So we wrote the regulations that we will watch it, and the government said we will audit you. Guess what? They don't watch to see that that intestine isn't punctured. So your statement about regulations and eliminating regulations, and that was done under the Reagan administration, has caused people to die. Our banking regulations, by repealing a 1932 law that allowed us to bundle mortgages into groups and sell bonds that were AAA rated, because we could insure them. Yes, it should never have been repealed. That regulation should have stayed in effect, and we would not have had this must that we had in that. One question that I've asked of every conservative I could get.
I take it you're not in that group.
I'm not a conservative. I am a progressive. Here's the question. Why do you believe that tax breaks to the wealthy, produce jobs in the United States? They did when JFK was in power because the United States was the best place to invest your money. Today, that is no longer true. Don't answer your question. Well, that's, okay, I was afraid I might not be able to respond. But why do you believe that tax breaks to the wealthy improve jobs in the United States?
First of all, on the cattle issue, I will be glad to look into that and provide me that information. There has been recent cases of E. coli, as I recall, it mostly come from vegetables. But if there's a problem, I will
Turkey.
I would be more than happy to look at your solution and obviously your knowledge about it. I certainly think that that's an important info. On the Glass-Steagall, I agree with you. That repeal of that was a serious mistake. And let me also say, if I'm honest, that there were those of us who called for the reform of Fannie and Freddie, which were the major, those of us, and there was an Inspector General's report several years ago, and there were those of us who argued for and wanted legislation that would have brought Fannie and Freddie under control, and we wouldn't have had the difficulties that we had. Why do I think that? First of all, I think we all want to be rich, and so I don't hate them. Oh, you don't want to be people who don't want to be rich. That's fine. Okay. So, I believe that if you tax people, no matter who they are, you take money from them and you give it to the government. And I believe that when you take money from people, then it prevents them from being able to invest their own homes and build and hire people. So that's a fundamental philosophical basis. First, you let me finish. When Ronald Reagan came to office in 1981, we had double-digit inflation, interest rates were around 20%, and we were in terrible shape. First thing we did was cut taxes, and we did have, and cut spending, and we had the strongest economic recovery in recent history. I mean, those are facts. We can argue opinions, but we can't argue facts. So I believe when you were talking about the money overseas, the best way to bring that money back is to cut our corporate tax rate because we have. I'm asking you again to let me finish as I let others finish. Okay? And I mean that.
You need to listen to us.
I am listening, sir, and I'm responding. I am listening and I'm responding, sir, and that's my right. Okay, because I believe that you will have companies and corporations, and they will tell you that, will come home and create jobs in a higher gear if they had a lower corporate tax rate. That's what they're saying. Go ahead and respond.
Okay, if you've looked at annual reports by corporations, you will see every one of them has increased the number of factories offshore with the corporate tax reductions. They will continue to build factories in China, putting Americans out of work. If we tax them, at least the money would stay in the United States. Okay?
Medicaid, Social Security, solid. That's my question.
4% won't even come close.
If you tax more, as you were saying, that obviously would not have the effect that.
Well, no, the budget is busted because of Bush's tax reductions. That's exactly it. That's exactly what happened. And that number you have up there is fake. That deficit is mostly Bush's. That extra $4 million. We started the $4 billion. We started to put that on the books and put the wars into account. Well, that is a question, sir. I asked the question. Why not tax the rich more?
This goes back to my previous answer, and that is that I do not believe that raising taxes on anybody is helpful in making our economy better and providing people with the wherewithal to make investments accepting your opinion. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. First of all, Senator, thank you for your service over the years.
Thank you.
It's not an easy job. Secondly, thank you in the last couple of weeks during the budget crisis negotiations when it was more like children in nursery school. You were one of the few adults who really stood up for what was best for our country. So thank you for
I
that.
mentioned that 84% of the American people said that the congressmen, men, women, acted like spoiled children.
Yeah.
I have not met the 14% who believe that we did. We're down to paid staffers and blood relatives.
But I have a question. Let me get
Yes,
to
sir.
the question. That is, to live within our means, we have a long way to go and a lot of sacrifice. And I asked the question, my father taught me, when living within your means, the easiest way is to increase your means. I'm not a wealthy man, but I know down the road the sacrifices have to be made. People who have acquired some wealth like me, we're not paying our share. And so, more by restoring the Bush tax cut. I would rather pay taxes so that man can live.
Thank you, sir, for your generosity and any money that you would like to send.
How much have you given, sir?
That, sir, is a reasoned response, and people have asked me that. And my response has said that what you're saying and suggesting is a country in which the middle class pay taxes mandatorily and the upper class pay it voluntarily. That's how I
Again, we go back, this is, I think, the third time that we have a fundamental philosophical difference. And I do believe I can show you some historical fact that if we raise taxes on Americans when we are in difficult times, it makes the situation worse. Now, I'm not saying that we should never raise taxes, but I think it would be very clear if we raise taxes, this is my considered opinion, that it would harm the economy, because we all know the only way out of this is a growing economy and a better economy, a lower unemployment rate. So all I can say is that we have a disagreement here, and you know the last election was what President Obama said was a quote shellacking. And the last election, people and their Tea Party members here will tell you, it was about jobs and the economy, and it was about spending and taxes. And the majority of the American people spoke very clearly. So that was a mandate. And I believe there's some people right here who are Tea Partiers who are not happy with it either. But the point is that that was a mandate of the election, and we should respond to the electorate. The overwhelming majority of people in Arizona voted and said, we don't want our taxes raised, and we want you to stop spending, and we want you to stop mortgaging our children's futures, and we want to take care of you, sir, but we also want to take care of our children and our grandchildren. And that's what